Inside Tennis with the Cause is brought to you by BMW of Sarasota. Drive your dream at BMW of Sarasota.
Hi tennis fans, the Cause here with you again for another exciting half hour inside the world of tennis. Stay tuned, we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Make this summer your ultimate summer behind the wheel of a new BMW from BMW of Sarasota. During the Ultimate Summer event, enjoy exceptional offers like these. Drive new 320i's, only $269 per month. Or new X1s, just $299 per month. Spend this summer in a new BMW. You'll never want to drive anything else. When summer ends, so do these offers. BMW of Sarasota. Experience the ultimate difference.
Hi tennis fans, welcome to another episode of Inside Tennis with the Cause. We had 2 great weeks of filming at Bath & Racket, Riverstrand, Laurel Oak, and Celsius Tennis Academy. US Open just a few weeks away. Want some of the finest seats in the house, and we are talking 3rd row, 4th row at Ash Stadium, tax deductible, through the nonprofit Junior Tennis Champions Center in College Park, Maryland, home of American Dennis Kudla. Call my friend Ray Benton at 301-779-8000, extension 115. Who's Ray Benton? Jimmy Connors' agent and founder of the Jimmy Connors Senior Tour. Wow, do we have another great show for you today. Longtime tennis promoter Bob Letzenberg, founder of Totally Tennis Magazine, which has been sold as a publication to Tony Driscoll and Bill Rump. New name, new look. Play Sarasota magazine will be joining us today, and we'll take a look at our Play Sarasota calendar. Get a terrific tennis tip from IMG's Margie Zesinger and an exclusive sit-down with tennis great Aaron Crickstein. So let's kick it off with our Play Sarasota magazine interview. Tony, Bill, you're taking over Bob Letzenberg's Totally Tennis. Great magazine, really turned a lot of tennis people on. But new name, broader dimension.
We think that it's important to have a local tennis magazine that can report what's happening tennis-wise in the community and use it as a vehicle to give back, have some timely information and let people see their pictures in the paper and just try to keep it alive and keep it growing right here in the community. So that's the initial reason that we bought it, because Bob thought that he might want to give it up and didn't know if he wanted to continue, and we felt that there had to be a tennis magazine in the Sarasota area.
Tony, nobody knows the tennis scene better than you.
Why, thank you.
But you're quite welcome. And you and your tournament earned that for sure, the Sarasota Open. How much of a hotbed do we have here for tennis, and how diverse are we in other sporting activities?
Sure, well, thanks for perking the Sarasota Open #1. This will be our 9th year. We've had great champions come through here: Kei Nishikori, James Blake, Sam Querrey, Kyrgios will beat Nadal at Wimbledon. So we've been very lucky there. But Sarasota in general is a great racing area. There's such a diversity here and such a still opportunity to expand with premier sports, with soccer. It's really endless what we can do.
Bill, you know what happens around here. You're fairly new to town, but you are tuned in.
I'd like to be more tuned in, and hopefully I'll move in that direction. 25 years ago I was tuned in when I was running the Nick Bollettieri Tennis Academy, but the weather, the fact that people travel here from all over the world, the fact that the best junior tennis in the world is played in Sarasota, played in Florida. You have to sign away your life and buy a house and have lived here for years just to be able to play in the tournaments here. But the depth of the junior tennis here is amazing.
Indeed it is. You're eager, you're excited about this thing. What are you most excited to be bringing the readers?
I think it's really a fresh take. It's an honor to take over what Bob did, first of all. Let me first say that. And it's a great responsibility that we have to continue what he did. I think we'll continue in that tradition and bring a great tennis product. but we're going to diversify into some of the other sports that Sarasota, as we spoke about earlier, is getting to be known for, and we want to bring that to the forefront as well.
Play Sarasota. It covers it all.
Yep, and in our next issue, which comes out the first week of August, we'll be introducing running and fitness. Those will be the two sports that we'll start off with in addition to tennis. But bottom line, it's still a tennis magazine, and we've just opened it up to be able to include a lot more that people are doing and a lot more that people want to see. Running and fitness certainly are very compatible with tennis. We're going to increase the magazine by 8 pages starting this August, and hopefully we'll continue to go in that direction. We're also going to print at least 1,000 more issues so that we'll have more to get to our new distribution sites that we're adding really on a daily basis.
Website?
PlaySarasotaMag.com, brand new website. Check it out.
Indeed, I will. What can we do to get this magazine in people's hands? If they don't play tennis, where can they get it?
To you on that
there are 150 distribution points that we drop off magazines now. The obvious ones are tennis clubs, fitness centers, sports stores, some of the top restaurants in town, medical centers, automobile dealerships. They can go to our website and find out where the distribution points are. They can call and we'll email them a copy of it. But certainly just by showing up at a tennis club, they're going to be able to pick up a copy of the magazine.
And now for our Play Sarasota magazine calendar. Some great events going on at Longwood Run with Travis Eckert. August 8th, a great men's and women's singles and doubles tournament. August 15th, the Hendrickson Memorial Junior Open. September 12th, Longwood Run Boys and Girls 10 through 18s tournament. September 19th, join Ashley Hobson for his Junior Open at Inspiration Academy.
Make this summer your ultimate summer behind the wheel of a new BMW from BMW of Sarasota. During the Ultimate Summer event, enjoy exceptional offers like these. Drive new 320i's, only $269 per month. Or new X1s, just $299 per month. Spend the summer in a new BMW. You'll never want to drive anything else. When summer ends, so do these offers. BMW of Sarasota. Experience the ultimate difference.
Hi, I'm Fanny Stoller, and you're Inside Tennis with the Cause.
Welcome back to Inside Tennis with the Cause. This guy has established some records that will never be broken on the ATP Tour. Let's get to know Aaron Krickstein. Well, the Krickstein tennis, it all started with a Dr. Herb. What influence did this guy, Dr. Herb, have on your lives?
Well, obviously he had a tremendous influence on all of us. He helped us immensely in so many ways, not only as being good people and teaching us great values growing up as young kids, but obviously he loved sports. My dad had a tryout with the Detroit Tigers, so it was in his blood that he liked professional sports and sports in general. And so he started with my oldest sister, Kathy, and got her involved in tennis, and my other two sisters played as well. And I just think he had a way to make us all believe in our abilities and really teach us work ethic and what it means to work hard and know that you can achieve your goals if you do that. And I think we all took to him, some better than others. You know, he was a tough guy, like I think you have to be to a certain degree as a father and lead me. You can't do it when you're that young as a youngster on your own. You need help, you need guidance, you need that support. I think that's very important, and he was able to do that in a way that at least I could handle. My other two sisters a little bit more difficult on, but
you were easier going?
Maybe a little bit easier going. I listened and things didn't bother me as much. I could handle it a little bit better, and I think Morgan was tough-minded too. And
Morgan the golfer.
Yes, she dealt with it too. So it was interesting. I always think how my dad started with me at 6, and at 16, in 10 years, I was able to turn pro and win my first professional tournament, and then he did the same thing with a different gender. In the
different sport.
Correct, different sport, and amazing how she started golf at 7, and by 17 she won a major.
She had a natural golf swing, so we were very fortunate with her. And Erin was the same way in tennis. They were both naturals, so I can't really take any credit. I just helped to put them in the right place, give them the opportunity to have great coaches, besides me, of course. And I'm a doctor, I'm not a coach.
Herb gets you into the game, but then he takes you down to Bollettieri's. You're down in Bradenton. Nick Bollettieri looks at this guy and says, he's a nice young Jewish kid, maybe a little spoiled at times, maybe a little babied, and now his father wants me to make him an Italian. How much of an Italian did Nick Bollettieri make you?
I don't know about that. Maybe he watched a lot of the Rocky movies and he wanted me to turn into Sylvester Stallone and be that tough-minded person, you know, where he felt I needed that little more of a killer instinct, so to speak. I think that if there was one knack on me, it would be that maybe I didn't have that as much as I should have as a young age and going through the pros. But you know, Nick helped me immensely. I think he felt like I grew up in this wealthy area, maybe of Grosse Pointe, and he felt like I needed a little bit more and to toughen me up a little bit. Even though deep down I thought I was very tough, and I was fine being a nice young Jewish boy. I didn't see anything wrong with that. But look, if Nick said I needed to be tougher, you know, he needed to work me into it. So you know, I certainly listened to him, and he helped me a lot.
Indelible memories about the Bollettieri Tennis Academy. What was that like? Some of your best friends and you were all there together.
Yeah, I mean, one of my first memories, of course, was with Nick. I walked in with my dad after just visiting Hopman's, which I didn't really like too much. They didn't give me too much attention. And I see this guy who was, I don't know how old, maybe in his 50s, sitting off the side of the court with his shirt off, with a plate of tin foil, getting a sunscreen. And I'm like, where's Nick, Dad? And he's like, he's right over there. And I'm like, this guy? That can't be true. And sure enough, he's out there, and he says, get over there. So he starts firing balls at me, and he liked my forehand. He thought I had a lot of potential. So that was my first impression of Nick. It was kind of funny, the suntanner, but great personality, and someone who was a great motivator and got the most out of, I think, his players. Also a great memory was when I first saw Andre Agassi down there hitting balls. I was like, wow, this kid's unbelievable. His timing, his control, his racket head speed at 11, 12 years old was amazing. He was like a can't-miss product. And sure enough, he became pretty good as well. Also grew up with Jimmy Arias, who was down there as well. He was a good role model for me and someone I spent a lot of time with growing up, and saw him make the transition into the pro game, and I think that helped me as well. So I think just being in an atmosphere at Bollettieri's with so many great young players, older players who were all trying to achieve greatness in tennis, I think really helped me make that transition in the pros and become a better player in person.
You are America's best. You win 5 national tournaments. You are America's best player out there. Compared national junior American tennis back then, Aaron, as today. What's happening?
Well, it's an unfortunate thing in American tennis. I don't hit with too many of the top 10 and under kids here at St. Andrews Country Club. Occasionally I see them, but obviously American tennis in general is on the downside. I'm hoping it's cyclical, but we've been in too long of a cyclical period. For me, I didn't grow up in that USTA program. They didn't have that then, and obviously I didn't need it. I was successful, and other people didn't as well. So I don't think it's necessary. For whatever reason, we're not getting kids either staying in the game of tennis, or they're not improving at the rapid rate that other countries are getting them to do. I'm not really sure why. That's the million-dollar question. I do know in the late 80s, when I was top 10 for several years, we had 7 Americans or even 8 in the top 10. Now, I don't think the casual fan of tennis could tell you who the number 2 ranked American is. And that to me is a sad thing. And I think tennis needs in general top Americans in both the women and the men's game to be successful globally and to continue to grow the sport. So hopefully we'll develop that champion one day, you know, again soon.
You set a few records out there. You win as the youngest player ever to win an ATP Tour event. 16 years, 2 months in Tel Aviv. It had to have some personal impact and feelings on you. How good was it to win that first title there?
It felt great. Obviously, being in Israel made it that much more special. I knew my grandfather was a rabbi. His father was a rabbi. I came from a long list of rabbis, so I was happy that my dad broke the chain and became a pathologist, so I didn't have to become a rabbi. I don't know how good I would have been at that, but anyways,
you're doing it every day.
I guess to a certain degree. I mean, my mom taught me some Yiddish words, being a mensch and things like that, but it was all in good fun. But no, it meant a lot to me. I think it means more to me now than it did then, just because I was so young. Maybe I didn't really realize the magnitude of how amazing that accomplishment was at the time. To win a professional tournament at 16 years, 2 months, and being in Tel Aviv with my background, heritage, tradition as a Jewish boy was pretty cool. I do remember after that they wanted me to play Israeli Davis Cup, because if you're Jewish, even though you're from another country, you are able to play for Israel. But
Did you
my
play
heart,
both?
I don't think so. I don't think so. And I know that I wanted to play for the U.S. Davis Cup, so I chose that, and I was fortunate enough to get high enough and be asked, so that was a big honor for me as well.
Absolutely. Another record. You break into the top 10, younger than anybody else at age 17. A little overwhelming at the time. How did you handle that?
Again, I think it happened so fast in a 12-month period. I went from being ranked, 494 to, close to the top 10, and then got to number 9, I think at 17, 2 weeks, just beating Bjorn Borg's record. So I always felt as a youngster when I was winning everything that it's like, when I turn pro, why shouldn't I continue this success? You know what I mean? As a youngster, you don't feel the pressure. You don't think about the money. You don't think about everything else that goes with it. You're just remembering you winning matches and trying to get better. And I think it happened so fast for me. And then I had a major injury when I did get in the top 10, and all of a sudden I was out for 6 months with a stress fracture in my foot. So that was a big setback, and I think it really took its toll the next year. I had the sophomore slump.
How did you handle that setback?
It wasn't easy.
What was that like for a young kid?
It wasn't easy because I was off for the first time for a long period of months where I couldn't play tennis, couldn't work on my game, which I thought was imperative at that time. Because as a 17-year-old, you have to keep improving. And if you don't keep improving, there's always people who are working harder or getting better at the same time. So when I came back, my game was just trying to get back to where I was, and I didn't really have time nor really work on the weaknesses and things that I needed to develop my game as I went forward. And I think that really curtailed my level as I went forward the next few years, and it was always a little bit of a battle for the next few years as I developed stress fracture after stress fracture after stress fracture for 3 to 4 years following that. So it was a challenge for me, and unfortunately, I don't like to make excuses for that, but it certainly definitely was a detriment to my career with all the injuries that I had.
Let's go on the high side of things. What did you get out of that experience that has helped you become the man that you are today?
Well, I think you realize that you have to be fortunate and you have to feel good, whatever the consequences or whatever you're dealt with in life, you have to deal with. And I think the adversity that I had as a pro, it was just the cards that I was dealt. I had to deal with it. I realized I got to work extra hard to get back. And if it wasn't meant to be, or I couldn't become the player or win the Grand Slams that I had hopefully envisioned when I was younger, which it didn't happen, so be it. I know that I worked hard and did the best I possibly could. And I think I felt good about that at the end of my career. So I think now I take that with the job that I have, and it makes me feel good about that as well.
Make this summer your ultimate summer behind the wheel of a new BMW from BMW of Sarasota. During the Ultimate Summer event, enjoy exceptional offers like these. Drive new 320i's, only $269 per month. Or new X1s, just $299 per month. Spend the summer in a new BMW. You'll never want to drive anything else. When summer ends, so do these offers. BMW of Sarasota. Experience the ultimate difference.
We are Inside Tennis with the Cause.
Welcome back to part 2 with Aaron Crickstein. Gosh, this guy is refreshing. And some of the biggest wins in the game: Becker, Sampras, Wielander, Lendl, Edberg. What was in the Aaron Crickstein game back then that you could beat these guys, knock off the number ones in the world?
Well, I think if you asked anyone, they would, tell you it was his big forehand. I think I had the ability to hit with power from just about anywhere of the court. I think when I was in trouble, I could take a defensive position and go into an offensive position, which I think you need at the high levels of the game, being able to dictate play and have a big shot. Nowadays, you need even more than that. You can't have any weaknesses or any average shots. You need to be great at all the levels, and I think that's one of the differences of today's game and the game when I grew up in. You could win with one weapon and maybe just a so-so shot, but I had that big weapon, which was big in the 80s.
You had that big stick in the right hand.
That's right.
You know about that, but how big was this heart back then? How proud were you as a competitor?
I think very proud. That was one of the main things that I had, whether Nick instilled that Italian in me or whatever it was. I think that's what helped me in those 5 setters, why I had such a great record in those come from behind matches. When I got to the 5th set, I knew that I could tough out the other guy, that I was going to play my best tennis at the end, that I wasn't going to give up in any fashion, that I was going to go all out, and at the end of the day, I was going to say, you know, I gave it my all. And I think that mental toughness at the end of matches, which is why I had so much success.
We all remember all those memorable battles you had on the tennis courts, but there was a very meaningful battle that you and your wife Bianca had. You battled with it, you battled with her through it. Where did you get the strength to beat that big C?
Yeah, that was a tough situation in life for both of us. Our daughter was just born. She was under a year old. Jade, and she developed a rare cancer, choriocarcinoma, which is developed in the placenta during the pregnancy. 30 years ago, you didn't live from this cancer. Now it's actually one of the few curable cancers that you can have. She was young, which helped her battle it, but I was, the director of tennis here at St. Andrews when we went through this, and she was up at Sloan Kettering in New York, so I was traveling back and forth during the week, 3 days a week in New York, being with her during treatment, and down here trying to make a living and work the club as well. So it was a very challenging time for us, scary, not really knowing what the end result would be, but I think with all my history of hard work and everything and positive attitude, I think that helped me get through it, and I think I might have helped her as well. And her being young, not knowing what was going on, and just realizing, look, we had this young daughter and she had to fight through it. I think we battled hard together, and fortunately for us, we got through it, and we got 2 healthy kids now, and she's healthy, so we're very grateful that everything worked out.
God bless indeed.
Yep, thank you, Cass.
All right, ESPN, they gave it to us in the 30-30. A nice reflection of a memorable match at the U.S. Open a quarter of a century ago, and it was revealed there was not a lot of conversation between you and Jimmy afterwards, but you put this thing together. You got a reunion match coming up with the great Jimmy Connors. What's that personally make you feel like, to put this back together, to make history again?
I think it's amazing, really, when you think about that match and that loss. It was devastating at the time for me to lose that match, being a 4th round of the U.S. Open with an opportunity to get through further, and a tournament that I love to compete at. I didn't think at the time that it was ever going to be as famous as it did, that match. I mean, I knew it was a tough loss, and it was on his birthday, and it was Jimmy Connors, and it was on Labor Day, and all the things lined up. But of course, I didn't know that I'd be hearing about it for 25 years, and every rain delay they would be showing it more than any match in history.
That's when you pray for sunny 2 weeks at the Open, don't you?
I did for a while, but then I became to kind of accept it and actually like it, knowing that people who didn't watch me play, and I could show my kids as well. So for me, the history of that match, and not really speaking to Jimmy for so many years after, and to be able to pull this off at the St. Andrews Country Club, at the club where I work at, and to be able to pull this together for our membership, and kind of put closure to the whole thing before Jimmy kind of swims off into the sunset, and he can play one more match against me. It's pretty unique and pretty special for me to be able to be back on the court with a legend like Jimmy. I'm frankly honored, and it's a humbling thing for me, playing with someone of his caliber, and to be able to do it on my home court is great.
You decided to stay in tennis, to be a club director of tennis here at St. Andrews. What's life like for Aaron Crickstein, the director of tennis?
It's great. I mean, to be quite honest with you, like probably most tennis players, when you grow up as a youngster, you're not thinking about what you're going to do after tennis. You're just trying to win that next match and get as good as you could be and try and move up those rankings. So when I was done playing, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my career. My father and sister both lived at St. Andrews Country Club. Everything aligned perfectly. When, ironically, my dad told me about this, my sister did, I was like, no, there's no way I'm doing this. I'm actually going to have to answer to somebody. I'm going to have to take responsibility. I'm going to have only 3 weeks vacation. When you're your own player on the pro circuit, you're your own boss. And I, quite frankly, accepted the job, and I quit the next day. I was in bed all day, freaking out, and my dad called me up, and he basically gave it to me, saying, what are you going to stay retired your whole life? Do something, and you're going to do this job. And so he basically kicked me in the can and told me I have to do it.
He called me up the night before he was supposed to start. He said, I can't do it. I'm not doing it. And I lost my temper a little bit. And I said, you are doing it. You gave your word. And he did it.
And my thought process was, I'm going to do it for a little bit. I'll try it. If I don't like it, then I'll try something else. And here we are 15 years later. So I think I'm most proud of the fact that I had no idea what I was getting into. I had no experience, no knowledge of what the job took to do, and never really coached, taught before. And now 15 years later, I think I've done a pretty good job learning it. And I feel proud of the fact that I've been able to run a successful program for this, high-end country club in Boca Raton, and I think the members like it, and I love working here. So that's probably what I'm most proud about.
We all know how proud Dr. Herb was of you. How proud are you of Jade and her commitment to excellence in tennis?
I mean, very proud, but actually, she never had that passion that I did, and I didn't have the passion that my dad did in getting me to stay into tennis. I wanted her to learn the game of tennis. I taught it to her. We played, but she never was like, Daddy, can we go play some tennis? So a couple years ago, I actually took my foot off the gas, and she's actually an amazing singer. She sung, a song at Morgan's wedding, my niece, in front of like 300 people. So if you asked her right now, what would she like to do? She wants to be on Broadway. She knows all the Broadway shows, the acts. She's actually going to sing the national anthem here today before the match. So I'm real proud of her. And I've always said, whatever you want to do, I'll stand behind you, support you, and whatever that may be. And she's a great young girl, has a lot of passion. She has a lot of fight. And I'm just happy she's healthy, and we're a great family together.
Hi, I'm Margie Zessinger. I'm one of the coaches here at IMG Academy. My tip for the junior players aspiring to be college or professional players would be, when you're at your tournaments, take a moment the night before and come up with a plan of how you're going to play the next day, and talk about who you're playing, and come up with the plan the night before where you can actually process the information, and then the morning of, just use the morning of the match where you get yourself ready and pumped up. But you don't want to overthink in the morning, so do it the night before.
Tennis fans, great to have you with us on Inside Tennis with the Cause. Boy, we love our sponsors, and you will too. Stop in to see them. But until then, remember, in tennis scoring, love means nothing, but love of the game means everything. Keep alive your love of the game. Love you, tennis fans, and we'll see you right here on SNN every Saturday at 2:30.
Inside Tennis with the Cause has been brought to you by BMW of Sarasota. Experience the ultimate difference at BMW of Sarasota.